It's gonna be crazy, and this is all alleged. Okay, this is all alleged. But hold on, y'all, hold please, because I believe that some people may have believed that they've done this, and this is what you've been waiting on or your investment. And I'm gonna tell you right now that if this is something that you actually are doing, baby, you just giving me permission to go off. Like, I think that y'all think that people that you won't reveal things. How do you think we know? People are watching you because you are under a Freudian slip. This is the reason why I was able to decode what La Janae was saying. I know La Janae is a motherfucking agent, and that's why she's coming for Milagro. She's coming for Milagro under, allegedly, under her trying to get a job with Rock Nation. I even have a recording from years of knowing her as from the Shade Room, from BET, and every motherfucking thing. And she had a Freudian slip last night that actually is going to work in Milagro Graham's favor. So I hope that you paid attention to the seeds that I left. But I said all of that to say this. I said all of that to say this. You just had a Freudian slip. So y'all have been going for people's north nodes. So if you couldn't go for the Aquarius north node, you were thinking that you were going to go for the Cancerian north node because of your Cancer placement. And you was going to be able to rock like you were going to be able to rock. Despite the fact that I have an active Pluto that is usable in your house, in your fourth house, which is your house of home. Not only in your fourth house, in your house of home, but that's your north node. That's your destiny point. I have a point of destruction on your destiny point. So we're going to talk about it in just a moment. Because I couldn't for the life of me understand why y'all didn't catch that you were giving your shit away. That's the reason why none of it's working, because you give it away subconsciously. You give it away in your aura. When there's readings on you, you give everything you're doing away. Now, the one thing I'm gonna say is this: allegedly. Now, I could have this shit wrong, and I'm finna read on this. I'm gonna actually see if I can read on it, because the way I'm about to word something. And I want to make sure that certain parties are not indicated that it would be a conflict of interest with me in the present as it relates to certain bigger names. If it'd be a conflict of interest for me in the present, or if it'd be a conflict of interest for me in the future. But yeah, I'm gonna say something, but I'm gonna ask a question, and that's if I can actually read on this or reveal what I believe that the group has done to some people. Okay, because if I can read on this and if I can say this, then y'all finna be fucked up, baby. Y'all let that little bitch. You know what? That's the reason why she is having anxiety as bad as she is, and why she's sleepless, because she's not thinking. And y'all let the wrong person in on what you were doing. You let a person who's immature and a person who's arrogant. You let listen to what I'm saying. You in your group let a first houser, a person with Sun and Mercury, a Mercury that she has no command of. You know why? This bitch's Mercury is ruled. This shit is, this is perfect. This bitch's Mercury is ruled by Gemini and by Virgo. And you know why this shit is crazy? She has Virgo in the third house, right? Which is the house traditionally ruled by Gemini. Where does she have Gemini at, kids? In the 12th house. What is the 12th house? The house of undoing. What happens when you don't study? What happens when you just do things because you appreciate things? What happens when you are arrogant or you do things out of anger, when you don't have command? It what? It does what? It undoes you, right? It's an undoing. That's what this was. She was the whole time, she was aiming for my first house. She had a Freudian slip. So I'm going to be talking about this work that I did, that it creates for certain people Freudian slips where they let you know things that otherwise they wouldn't let you know. It's like what it does is it gives them a sense of accomplishment that they don't have. It gives them, it throws off their survival instinct. That wasn't a Freudian slip though. They don't know, like for instance, let's say if you were a mouse, and your ability to smell could detect serpents. Well, this working would remove the ability to smell, and you would assume that the environment's not wrought with serpents because you don't smell any. And there's a pit of enough of them, and they're small enough to make a meal out of you, maybe 2 or 3 of them. But you would never smell them. Okay? That's wicked, but listen, it is what it is. You're not going to shame me out of work because of the actual thing that I'm seeing here. People have embarrassment spells, and I'm down with it. Because I believe that if you're a person who actually goes towards embarrassing yourself and initiating ego death, it actually makes you a more powerful person, but not fucking with certain people just to be defeated over and over again by that person. But when you actively remove not giving a fuck what other people think, it makes you more powerful. It gives you a freedom to access very divine, like very, like different dimensions. I'm not going to get into it, but see, this is the reason why you got to stop listening to con women who happen to be older. You got to stop listening to other people thinking that you're not doing anything. You're doing something that you learned from a record executive, but you don't have masters lending you wisdom. So that means that you have this book of grimoire without knowledge and you're illiterate. So you don't understand what is being in exchange, and you don't understand the time limit that you have to practice that working. And what you give to the people who you're practicing against, especially if they have a higher command. You didn't realize that you were in fact aligned with a trickster being, which is why when you throw tricks on people who naturally have access to this energy, you give us full scale and full reign to do as we need to do. You understand what I'm saying? So your survival instinct, the instinct that tells you to ask a question and maybe monitor what you're saying, is off. And you can't even hear it when you play yourself back, you don't even hear what you're saying. Like Lajane, she didn't even hear what she didn't even read what I was posting last night. She didn't even read to see, damn, I just caught myself the fuck up. I just revealed that I'm an agent. I just revealed my hand. No wonder she follows so many different type of tarot readers. She didn't even catch her own fuck up and her own involvement in that case. And the fact that she can influence opinions, and she is alongside those who are the plaintiffs in the case. Now, this is all alleged. She didn't even get it. And I promise you, the bitch that I'm talking about right now, which is a separate case, or maybe it's not, she ain't gonna get it either until now. If I'd have just said you fucked up, she wouldn't have got what she did. She had a Freudian slip. A Freudian slip is a truth. It is something that you say because it's what you mean. It is something that survives the masking when you're lying. Okay? And so what she did in her most recent, y'all fuck. That's why I said stupid motherfuckers, man, will get you killed. Literally. If I ever do a crime, I wouldn't do it with a group. I wouldn't do a crime with a motherfucking group. Are you serious? Stupid motherfuckers will get you killed out here in the streets. What she said was, oh, I can feel my body. It's getting cool when it's cool and warm, and I can adjust my temperature. You know why she said that? It's because this motherfucker that she's playing with has been monitoring me. And I remember I was saying I'm so warm on the inside and I'm cold on the outside. And so that nigga took that shit literal. He was so far in my pussy. This nigga from Youngstown, Ohio. He took the shit literal as if it was a skill. Nah, bitch. The air, the heat wasn't working in my apartment. And I had to put my hands in my thighs because I'm fat. So when she said that, as if it was something she was developing from making a swap, that was the first telltale sign. Okay? The second telltale sign is when she said, yeah, and what they'll do is that they'll try to go into your shadows. Whenever they say stuff like this, kids, whenever they say they, what they're saying is what they're doing, and what the goal is in a swap is that when you hear these readers talk about they or these people, you know that they're a part of something, they're probably a person who's been copying you. They are swapping the guilt that they have onto you. That's a part of the destiny swap, or it's called something linguistic, something linguistic programming. It's a form of linguistic programming. I learned about that through Teal Swan, and this nigga would watch Teal Swan. So I don't know if he was in a group with Teal Swan who was doing NLP, neuro linguistic programming. It's when a person mirrors what you're saying and flips it in order to take your position as the person. So if it's being done to you, they position themselves as it being done to them, right? And because they have, these people they have no, because they're illiterate. They don't understand. See, this is the issue with racist people. They will always get black people to do their work who are poor, without moral character, without any form of like self-awareness, like any kind of self-confidence or like human decency. Because if they use them to do it, whatever comes back on them, it's like they're a human shield. So that's why they didn't pick this nigga from Ohio because he was special. Maybe because of his church upbringing and the Masonic connections there, but it's not because of inherent ability. Okay? That's not exactly what that is. It can be certain star points, but when you have suppression of abilities through abuse and neglect, then it makes it to where we can use you in the flip. So everyone's being used on the team, but they so stupid that they don't realize that. That's why I say you're gonna try to gray rock and you're gonna try to play possum. Bitch, I knew you was lingering and leering. And like you came in here and was talking in my chat room like you wasn't like you was gonna come here to eat today. Bitch, like you was finna come here and snack. Oh, bitch, you finna get your ass ate like some chitlins, bitch. Boiled. Are you for real? So what she did, so the second slip is when she said, yeah, they were going to try to block your north light. No, like mine is in the first. And then she said, oh, no, in the fourth. She's saying mine is in the first. This bitch is so far off. How do you get yours is in the first house? If your north node is in, if your south node is in Aries on Saturn, that's what makes the shit so good. Is that it's in, and this bitch finna have a Saturn return. Bitch, do you know? Maybe one of my friends will do the body. Huh? Woo! Wait a second. So like you let them play with you. You girl, you so motherfucking stupid. It don't make no goddamn sense. You so hateful, jealous, and stupid. It don't make no motherfucking sense. Then you was dumb enough to leave a trail where you gonna place a cardinal bird. Talking about some, oh, good things are happening here because I said something about the cardinal signs and you got pissed off because I said Cancer can beg for money. Was I lying though? That's what makes it so bad. You don't even know who's watching you. The walk of shame is crazy out here. So, bitch, how exactly were you gonna get famous after all this? All this on this is recorded online. You don't think any of this shit will be pulled up on you? Do you think people want to work with you? Considering who you involved with, do you think about this for a second? You didn't think about it. That's the issue. You didn't think. You know why? Because the controller of your Mercury is in the 12th house. That's why you go and you say my chart ruler is Mercury, despite the fact that you are a Cancer rising. Because you're trying to swap. It's not because of the Vedic placement that you're saying it. You're saying it because you're trying to swap with me because you're obsessed with me. Despite the fact that everyone knows that in astrology, if Cancer, especially in the Western, is the chart, that's your chart ruler. It's not about the planet, bitch. Technically, the planet can rule because it's in your first house, but it's in the sign of Cancer. So the moon still is in control here. And I think that because your moon is in the 11th house, you believe that that gives you access to Aquarius. When the only thing that you have in Aquarius is either Uranus, it's Uranus, right? But that Uranus is in the 8th house. And Aquarius in the 8th house, unmanned, can mean sudden death. Okay? And what do you have aspecting? The only motherfucking thing you have aspecting, really, in a strong aspect, is Lilith in Leo. Aspecting Uranus and Aquarius. That means you're operating in you're fully in the shadow, but but it's happening on the 2nd and 8th house axis. So Lilith is draining your 2nd house fortune by way of you not controlling your desires. And Uranus is just waiting to be queued the fuck up in your 8th house. You see how the fuck that works? You, out of all the people that they could have used as a vessel, are the worst person, considering the fact that you have Algo conjunct your moon, which can indicate a car accident where your head is severed in a car accident. Especially considering it's the moon, which can represent cerebral fluid. Why in the fuck would you, out of all people, and then it could be something that the public knows about, because it's in the 11th house too. Why would you do that? Why would you let them men set you up like that? You know why? Because this is something that your mama taught you and your grandmama taught you. And you see how they got up out of here. You gonna contact me on King. And I told you, I said, you're around a bunch of crackheads in spirit. And you look like a crackhead. You ebb and flow in between. You done paid me so much money on King. And I think the reason you do it is you think that they're securing a swap for you. So let me show you how this works, okay? So let's say that you swapped with me. I want you to understand this. You can't control my body. I'm taking a very powerful medicine that a young woman who is under 110 pounds wet, it would kill you. And the moment you actually swapped, I wouldn't need to take that medicine and you wouldn't be aware of it. That's the first thing, because you don't have my actual placements. You, meaning that you weren't born when you're born with your birth chart, your body is formed according to your birth assignment, okay? Down to your nervous system, down to your veins, everything. So you would have to, at the smallest I could ever be, because I am 5'4", but you're under 5 feet. I think you're 4'11". So my frame's too big for you. So that means that your joints would start to separate at your age. Intense pain. You would inherit fibromyalgia and you don't have the nervous system to take it. Okay? You would swell up and start to develop. I don't have gout, but for someone your size, you would have gout, because at the smallest that I would be, because I'm muscular, I would be 135, 140 pounds at the smallest. Like 130 would be almost skin and bone for me. Even though I'm 5'4", I'm heavy, like density wise. So that means that based on your placements, you would have crushing syndrome. I want you to look up, kids, what crushing syndrome is. Not my people, but I'm directing this to this particular person. She would have crushing syndrome. It basically, it happens if, like, let's say, unfortunately, I don't like to bring this up because it can be triggering people. So let me just say this. Let's say something heavy falls on someone, right? And for all intents and purposes, the nerve endings, the vessels, and the bones are crushed. Okay. And even if they're not disturbed or there's still functional, the body would believe that that area is dead. So then what would happen is there would start to be immediate necrosis or necroses set up in that area that feels crushed. And eventually they would have to amputate that particular limb because of the way in which the tissues and the material and parts are starting to die off. She would start to develop crushing because at her birth, according to her birth time, her body is specifically and perfectly made for that birth time. This is why it's incredibly important, guys, for you to be yourself. Destiny swapping will kill you. Okay? This is the reason why some of the celebrities you see that involve themselves in certain contracts, they end up dying in car accidents. They end up developing certain cancers, a lot of colon cancers, a lot of prostate cancer, especially if they swap with a woman. They end up dying in fiery act. They end up dying because it was a destiny swap that their aura and body can't contain. And they swapped with someone who wasn't the ideal look, but had the talent that could be mounted onto them. So this is what they were trying to do here. But the issue is that her genetics, nor does her family lineage allow for her to carry, because she's still carrying the sins of her grandmother. That's why she has an addiction issue and a gambling issue, because she's still carrying the weight of her grandmother. This is the reason why she cussed her grandmama out and was like, I didn't give a damn when she died, and when she went on her funeral, I was on my way to Florida. That's the reason why she said that, because she felt a way. Because this is the person she's closely tied with, because they share a life force. Okay? So if you were to actually go through with this, I would have everything to benefit. It would cause weight loss in me. Okay? I would start to reverse in age. My body's already set. I'm well past 25. I've already had my Saturn return. I would be the one out of the two of us that gained the most. And I have experience that you can't take that from someone. My memories don't become your memories. You can play these celebrities have these games played when they're young. This is the reason why some of them go crazy before they're, what is it, the age, the 27 club? That by the time they're 27, some of them don't make it to 27, some of them don't make it to 33. So what has happened is that you've gotten a set of unhinged niggas who know a little bit about the industry and know a bit about the occult magic, and it's a group of sorcerer males, and they are using you as a guinea pig to source and harness energy from high priestesses. You are not the one who is, like, everyone is clear and square on you not being the one. I told you, I didn't even know what the fuck I was talking about when I said that you were a what did I call you? I called you a like a dummy. It's like a dummy, but it's like a, I didn't even know what that was. You was already on bullshit from the beginning. So I have every right to feel the way I do, bitch. Because you are a danger to anyone that you covet from. That's why those girls don't fucking like you, and that's why you don't have any female friends, because you are a covetous, evil ass bitch that's jealous. That's why you can't hold friendships with anyone. You got upset with the little heavyset girl named Fancy because she's prettier than you. Big as she was, prettier shape. You couldn't take that. And her channel blew up before yours did. So you couldn't take that. You are intensely jealous and intensely insecure, but you are violent with it. Meaning that you will go as far as to attack and undermine other women. So you're a perfect, when you worked on these men, know that you are morally so inept that you were perfect to do the shit with. Okay? So when you said this, I'm sitting here like, wait a minute. So if I operate within, and I have the ability to operate within all of my placements, I'm a crystal kid, meaning that I have several houses with planets connected to each other. I have access to, I have command of all of those planets. So I can easily, in the way Pluto is set up, I have sextiles and squares. The words that my Mercury, squares are power centers, okay? All I got to do is speak over your life, and I would destroy your living environment because of the square between my Pluto and my Mercury. And my Mercury's in the 8th house, and it's Pluto in Libra at 29 degrees, okay? Okay? All I got to do is speak over you. And your house environment is up in flames. You were given a false pretense. And so every preset that you believe was underscoring, like you could go and say some little shit so that I can get triggered on the back end and come and act the fool because I can't prove it. But you see how I'm able to communicate? People can listen to what I'm saying. Go to your channel and find out when you started talking about Neptune. They can see when you started to talk about the Wiz, and it can clock from when the time that me and you got the argument. Every time you talk about Michael and what was that, Illuminations, talking about I worked for him. No, I didn't, bitch. And that motherfucker don't give a fuck about you. You hood booger ass bitch. Like, it's never been that deep. You let them niggas talk your head up like crazy because you a silly ass broad. And because you don't have friends or counsel among women who love you, that means you've never developed your intuition, your self-esteem, or your identity. And because you hate women, you hate yourself. Not you guys, but this girl I'm talking to. So I want to differentiate between the two. You've been working this shit the whole time. No wonder you kept saying, all this work I'm doing, I know it's going to change for me. No, baby. Everybody who works gets paid. And you're going to get paid for the type of work and what you did, your intention, and what you were intending to do to another motherfucker. Bitch, you finna catch it. Because you were dead motherfucking wrong. Stone cold 6 feet under dead wrong for that shit. And you responsible for anyone and yourself who it touches. Because you let some niggas sing you out and play you to the left because you don't know how to love yourself. Loving yourself will save you your motherfucking life. Bitch, if I really was a cruel bitch, I would have allowed you to do a destiny swap because I would understand that I would be alleviated of the pain and I would have an extra, like, think of Mario Brothers. It would be a one up for me. Like, bitch, I wouldn't have to work as hard in the gym. My body would naturally form and wrap around me like shrink wrap. Bitch, I'll be the baddest hoe on the planet. Do you understand me? If I was actually evil like you are. Maybe I should be. Maybe you need to continue doing what you're doing. It's already done, quite frankly, because I'm going to go ahead and take it. I'm going to go ahead and take it, bitch. And how it works is that if you don't actually physically transform, things will happen like accidents, illnesses, cancers, diseases that cause swelling, weight gain, things that help you transform into the person who you are destiny swapping with. Despite the fact that you don't have the astrological strength to do it, and you do not have the physical strength, and you don't have the ancestral fortitude to actually pull it off. Because your ancestors didn't do what mine did. Your ancestors were weak and gave in to their desires and the pleasures of the flesh, which is why you are like the way you are. You understand what I'm saying? That's why you are like the way you are, because your ancestors was that way and no one ever healed it. And you just tried to steal. You said your grandmother was a person who stole and was on crack and stealing from people, stealing from different men, and you are a thief too and a liar. So that means that you the same life she had and her early exit is the same thing you're going to experience. You don't want to work for nothing. It's like y'all work hard to do a shortcut. Like you're working harder, not smarter. You're working harder to do some shit that you thought was easier. It would have been easier for you to have worked hard on your singing career. It would have been easier for you to have learned how to network. It would have been easier for you to have went to therapy and talked to somebody about your personality disorders. It would have been easier for you to go and talk to someone about your cluster B issues. It would have been easier for you to talk to someone about your childhood neglect. That would have been the easier thing to do. And you would have come to understand I am beautiful. My body is my temple. I can be charismatic. These are the benefits of my chart. If I learn to love myself, not only will I get married, but I'm going to attract someone who can help me develop a new life, one in which I wasn't born into. There is a man of quite some level of political or financial stature. That's something we could see in your chart. But you let these motherfuckers and your greed and your ignorance and the fact that you are so hard-headed and you don't listen and you do not respect anyone because your mother didn't teach you respect, because your mother wasn't respectful. She was also negligent, which is why shit didn't get done for you. Which is why you are like the way you are, which is why you all the way out. If you had somebody talking to you about yourself as a young woman, you wouldn't have let niggas run trains on you. And you wouldn't let these niggas run psychological trains on you. At 29 years old, you're still doing the same thing that you were fucking around doing at 17 and 18. You're still an addict. Even if it's not popping pills, you're still that right now. And now you're embarrassed because I'm saying it in front of everybody. Now you're embarrassed because you got certain people who you grouped up with who are tarot readers, and they sitting back talking about some, yup, sure did. Them motherfuckers is looking at you crazy. You think them women or them guys are going to trust you? Fuck no. They seen how desperate you were for it. They seen you don't lace your readings with how many times you don't watch the channel. People done seen how far you would go. No one in good common sense would trust you with a motherfucking thing around now. So you are good to use and discard is how they think. Okay? So I'm finna ask this question because I'm curious about XX Testacion and why there was a big focus pushed on Drake about him. So I'm gonna ask if I can look into that. Because nigga, if I find out y'all motherfuckers had something to do with that shit. Because that's how, ever since that's where a particular content creator blew up. And all of these young millennial and zennial started subscribing to them. And they got this God complex after the death of that boy. And so I'm wondering if these two have something to do, if they intersect with each other. Here, can I look into this? Hold on one second. Let me put this motherfucker on mute. I'm going to say this right now. I don't know about you internet niggas and you SoundCloud niggas, but y'all did a destiny swap allegedly with XX Tentacion. And that's the reason why you believe you can do one. You also performed one with Enoch the like Prince, I believe his name, and some other content creators. So for a time you believed that you could do that because your biggest hit was XX Tentacion, and you did something to intersect with Drake. Because whenever you guys would contact me on King, you would always act like you're coming from Drake's hometown in order to swap. Like, it's something that you guys were doing. That's why you were so invested in what happened between him and Kendrick Lamar. Because someone wanted Drake's life or lifestyle. And since you motherfuckers were behind the scenes with XXXTentacion and you believed that you were able to pull it off, you were going to see how much further you could go. And the reason, and I'm going to say this now, this is going to have me sounding crazy. And if this ever gets back to the particular content creator, I'm sorry, sweetie. But the celebrity that they had me, I'm going to post it on my community page. Spirit, do I need to say that celebrity's name and send them a copy of this? To have it investigated via Google of people impersonating them. Can I share this? It was Jackie Ina. So that means that Taja was going for her too. If she was successfully able to swap with me, she was going for other people that I liked because of I have a high quality of people. And so she felt like that. The reason why I say that is anyone she's trying to mimic, she's going to try to do it in a mimicry. So you like that lifestyle. You look at, you put a lot of stuff on Pinterest. I've been following your Pinterest too. So that's how I know that you're covetous based on what you put on there. So that won't work. And you should be embarrassed. You should be absolutely embarrassed. And you think I'm finna, bitch, now that I know that you actually attempted that, everything you stand for is gonna come down. You will not, bitch, until you do right by me, nothing in your life will go right. Taja, nothing in your life will go right. Is it Taja Scott? Nothing. Or Taja Murphy. Nothing will go right for you in your life. Everything will dry up. No opportunities will come to you until you do right by me and everyone else that you've lied on. I ain't finna touch them niggas. Because now that I done said what I said about XXXTentacion and Drake, knowing that Drake is an occultist. And I already said it's a Youngstown nigga. And that nigga that already been hit by that nigga by the white nigga from the Crucible. Nigga, they on your ass, okay? They're on your ass. But for old girl, for Taja Scott, it's a wrap, boo-boo. Like it's one thing to have been an enemy. You could have kept it at enemy and kept it pushing. But you are, because you're stupid and you're immoral and you don't know magic and you skim over things, you don't study. You study people to take from people. You don't study yourself because you don't like yourself. You should know powerful auras are going to reject you over and over again, because if you don't like you, that is, I'm going to tell you, that is a sin against God when we don't love ourselves, guys. When we don't love ourselves, you are sinning against the Most High God, because the Most High God helped and facilitate the form of you. So when you do things that show that you don't love yourself, or you let other people harm you, you let them do it in favor of loving them more than you love yourself, that means that you made them your God, and the Most High is not in the room with us. The moment that you have low self-esteem and you let other people rule over you and you love them more than you love yourself, you deny God. Because how is God going to be within you when you don't love you? How is God going to reside in a temple of hatred when God is not an author of confusion or hatred? Huh? How is that going to happen? You tell me. You mean to tell me you motherfuckers are dead? That's why I said the spirit of deaf, dumb, and blind. You see how that just worked? Now your ass got something to you ain't gotta sit. You thinking, okay, if she don't hit me today, let me tell you something. His old boy's life force has been slipping away from him for the last 5 years. You see the way he looked? A black person, let alone a black man, should not look that bad. He shouldn't be that aged in 5 years. This nigga aging like cottage cheese. You understand that? Like within 5 years, he's aged. He looks terrible. You would think he was a cancer patient. You would think he had full-blown active suppressed immune system. That's how bad he looked. And none of you motherfuckers that are around him actually care, because you're trying to get your jollies off. As a matter of fact, the moment he died and you can try to take his proverbial spot, you will be right there. Y'all don't even like the nigga. That's what's so crazy about it. That's why that's one of the major reasons is that you guys can't even create a church between you, because you don't like or trust each other. You see how God don't dwell with you and why you're not blessed? And you tried to come up against a chosen one. I have demonstrated my abilities over and over and over and over and over again. And you that stupid and that obsessed and that indulgent. You are so indulgent and weak as a woman, girl. Taja, you are so indulgent and so weak. Taja, you are so indulgent and weak in your fortitude and in your willpower, Taja. You give in to your will of your flesh. You can't control yourself. You are led by your intrusive thoughts and your fleshly desires. You have no command over yourself. You are a puppet upon the strings of a puppeteer, Taja Scott. That's what you are. I'm going to say your name. I don't give a shit. It has zero worth. It's worth less than a penny that's no longer in circulation. It's worth less than that currently. I'm talking about as it appreciates. You know it's going to be worth something when it appreciates. I'm just saying right now, at this time. Because of the nature. I'm not a cruel person. But people like you don't need to be on the street, because if you were successfully able to do it to me, it wouldn't have stopped with me, and you would have got rid of your mama, because your mama, you don't love her like that. And that little sister of yours, the one that's tall, you're jealous of her because she's pretty. You compete with your younger brother more than her because she is more mature than you at your big age. You have a special resentment in your heart for your little sister. So if you don't like your little sister, then bitch, you ain't got shit for nobody on the streets. So if you were able to do it to me, someone who you think it wasn't going to be caught back, because you motherfuckers are still stupid. You still think certain people do not watch my channel. You still think that. You still think you won't get cracked wide open behind me, behind fucking with me. Despite the fact that your life is exactly happened to you. So, yeah. I couldn't believe it when you came and said, I said Jackie Ina would never say Jackie Ina and come to me in an email address. First of all, why would she? Okay? Why would she even do something like that? And if she ever did, for whatever reason, where if I was in the industry, it would be her assistant. It would be someone from her industry. I wouldn't want to, I wouldn't, I'm not, I'm just humble enough to not even think like that. Because why would I want to? Not that I love the things that she has, but I wouldn't just expect someone. I'm not that high on myself like that. Not because I don't love myself, but I'm also realistic. I haven't done anything that I think would truly benefit her. At least I don't think I have. So that didn't make any sense. And then you're exploiting someone else, and that's fucked up. You're trifling with somebody else's empire and name. Then you're gonna, the way you wrote the letter, you would think that woman was illiterate or had issues with her grammatical, like her ability to use proper grammar. She would never use, oh, I'm so glad that you resonate with my work. What the fuck does that even mean? Resonate with my work. That's some shit you would say, Taja Scott. Because you don't have a defined career. So work is ambiguous. It means that I don't really do shit but act like I'm a tarot reader. If anything, she would say my company, or thank you for the whatever, the name of her company, the moniker of her company, for being a person who supports our products and services, and my career on you. Like, it would be something to where we would understand a specific like title behind work. You would use that because you don't have a title. You don't have a talent. You're a con artist. And you just got caught in the web, bitch. And we finna wrap your ass the fuck on up, okay? Yes, kids, this is what it looks like. When you have a person who is shady, there are some things you can do. But I'm not finna go into it, but I'm finna, as far as I understand it, but what I would say is this. I would go to theconjure.com or to Lala of The Conjure on Instagram, if I were you. And Lala Lajane, if you ever seen her, she threw away your products. At least that's what she told me. And she's in a group with some other people who I really didn't understand. And so if you felt like something was going on weird with your company, I want you to look into her. Okay? She gonna probably say I'm crazy as shit, but just look into her. Okay? All right. But anyway, I would go and check out The Conjure. And when you go to The Conjure, I would go to Lala and see if she has the truth formula. Okay? Now, the way that I use her truth formula, and with some other additions that I've made, I have it to where, specifically because of my understanding of human psychology, I needed to perform a certain kind of way for me. And right now, I'm not prepared to speak on that. However, the truth formula that she has, I use it so that, first of all, you can't catch me up on shit. What I say is what I mean, and I mean what I say. That's what actually allows for me to expose the motherfucker when it's ready, when I'm ready, and to collect a receipt and get a receipt. The truth serum or truth spell will have people giving Freudian slips left to right, and in such a way that you can create a receipt through the pattern that they make, through time, date stamps, occurrences, whenever someone came and messaged you, sent you a weird email, when someone spoke and then another person spoke, and those particular people's like user ID. They'll create, basically it'll help you create a map or a consistent, persistent involvement that gives the way of a person's intentions, coupled with things that they admit that they didn't know that they were admitting to. So it helps you to, I'm saying it, I'm not actually explaining it correctly. It helps you develop it's like reverse engineering a receipt. That's what it helps you do. And it's so good that it can reverse engineer a receipt that can hold up in the court of law. So I suggest that if those are some concerns or desires you would like, to definitely reach out to Lala of the Conjure, because she has a bona fide truth serum that is quite amazing, okay? And to think that there were women, especially a particular sect of women, that wanted Lala to go down because they're trying to get the likes of Cardi B on their team. They're trying to get the likes of Jasmine's Gardens. That's how I learned about Jasmine's Gardens, was one of these bitches that's running with La Janae. That's how I learned about, that's actually, and then I seen that she had the Trap Witch in common. And I said, well, I wonder why y'all follow all these particular people. That's interesting. Are y'all in a little spiritual group? What's going on? And these are all niggas. And so these niggas did everything but promote black business. They did everything but actually succeed. They failed in every way that they possibly could. Maybe getting a check here and there. See, this is the cost of not loving yourself. Okay? So I hope for everyone else's sake that you learn something. Maybe that I'm crazy as hell, and maybe all of this is a fictional tale and a creative work that I just put together on the spot because I'm a good improv artist. But most importantly, you learn to love yourself, because it's painful to try to be someone else when you have a perfectly good, sophisticated piece of machinery called yourself and is literally blessed by God, him or herself, christened by the angels. All you got to do is appreciate it and dedicate yourself to learning how to work it instead of it getting worked by somebody else in life. Okay? That's really what I got to say. Y'all have a good one and be peaceful.